Alexis Steele, proud human and self-proclaimed master of mayhem, stared at the holographic form of Admiral Zix Klar, her eyebrows raised so high they threatened to escape her forehead entirely. The Admiral's tentacles writhed in what Alexis had come to recognize as extreme discomfort. MS Steele, I assure you, this is not a joke. The Galactic Federation requires your unique abilities. Alexis leaned back in her chair, propping her feet up on the console of her beat-up spaceship, the ironically named subtle approach. Aha. And by unique abilities you mean my talent for turning any situation into a glorious dumpster fire of chaos and awesomeness, right? I would not have phrased it quite that way, but essentially yes.
A slow grin spread across Alexis's face. Well, hot damn. Colour me intrigued, Admiral Squid Face. What's got your tentacles in a twist this time?
Zix Klar's eye stalks twitched in annoyance. That's Admiral Zix Klar, and I'll thank you to remember it. As for our situation, it's a matter of galactic security. Our most elite training facility has been compromised. Alexis's grin widened. Compromised? Sounds fun. What, did someone steal the secret recipe for that weird blue jello in the mess hall? This is no laughing matter, MS. Steele Zix Klar's skin rippled in agitation. The Cosmic Combat Academy is the pinnacle of our military might. It's where we forged the greatest warriors in the known universe. And now what? Spit it out, Admiral. I haven't got all day. Well, actually I do, but that's not the point. Zix Klar deflated slightly. We can't beat our own combat exam. None of our recruits can pass it. Not a single one. Alexis blinked. Once, twice. Then she burst out laughing so hard she nearly fell out of her chair. Oh man, let me get this straight. You uber-advanced aliens made a test so hard that even you can't pass it. That's beautiful. It's like a cosmic played-yourself moment. Your amusement is noted and not appreciated, MS. Steele Zix Klar grumbled. But yes, that's the essence of our predicament. We need someone to recalibrate the system. Wiping tears of mirth from her eyes, Alexis grinned. And you thought of little old me? I'm touched, Admiral. Really I am. But why me? Surely you've got plenty of other humans to choose from by now. Zix Klar's tentacles twisted into what might have been the alien equivalent of a grimace. Believe me, MS. Steele, you were not our first choice, or our second, or our 50th. But your reputation precedes you. Oh, shucks, you're going to make me blush, so what's in it for me? Besides the sheer joy of messing with the greatest military minds in the galaxy, of course. Full diplomatic immunity, a substantial credit reward, and Zix Klar paused for dramatic effect, unlimited access to our technology vault for one standard galactic week. Alexis's eyes lit up like a supernova. Hot damn, now you're speaking my language. All right, Admiral Calamari, you've got yourself a deal. Point me at this Cosmic Combat Academy of yours. It's time to show the galaxy how a real Deathworlder gets things done. 12 hours and several questionable jumps through hyperspace later, Alexis found herself standing before the imposing gates of the Cosmic Combat Academy. The massive structure loomed against the backdrop of a swirling nebula, all sleek lines and pulsing energy fields. Well, Alexis muttered to herself, they certainly don't do things by halves, do they? As if on cue, a voice crackled to life from a nearby speaker. Identify yourself and state your purpose. Alexis grinned and struck a dramatic pose. The name Steele. Alexis Steele. Deathworlder extraordinaire and your friendly neighborhood chaos generator. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of. Well, I never had any bubblegum to begin with, but you get the idea. There was a long pause, followed by a confused "I." What? Oh, for the love of, just let me in, will you? Admiral Zix Klar sent me. You know, big guy, lots of tentacles, perpetual look of constipation. Another pause, then identity confirmed. Welcome to the Cosmic Combat Academy, MS Steele. Please proceed to the main atrium for decontamination and briefing. The massive gates slowly creaked open, revealing a bustling courtyard filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Alexis sauntered in, a spring in her step and mischief in her eyes. All right, Galaxy, she grinned, cracking her knuckles. Let's see what you've got. Captain Vex Law stood ramrod straight in the atrium, his exoskeleton gleaming under the harsh lights. As the door slid open to reveal a small, pink-skinned biped, he felt his mandibles twitch in disbelief. You must be joking, he chittered to his second in command. This is the expert Admiral Zix class sent. It looks like it would snap in a light breeze. Alexis, catching the last bit of his comment, grinned widely. Or, you say the sweetest things, Captain Bugsy. But trust me, I'm tougher than I look. Now, who's ready to have some fun? Vexlor's antennae quivered in indignation. This is not about fun, human. This is about the security of the entire galaxy. Our combat exam. Yeah, I got the memo, Alexis interrupted, waving a hand dismissively. Big bad test. No one can pass it. Galaxy's greatest warriors reduced to tears. Yada yada. So, where's this mythical exam of yours? I'm itching to give it a whirl. Vexlor's compound eyes blinked rapidly in succession. You want to attempt the exam, now, without any preparation? Alexis shrugged. No time like the present, right? Besides, I've always been more of a learn-by-doing kind of gal, so point me at your worst. I can take it. The captain exchanged a worried glance with his second-in-command, who merely shrugged her wings helplessly. Very well, Vexlor said, his voice dripping with skepticism. Follow me to the simulation chamber, but don't say I didn't warn you. As they made their way through the winding corridors of the academy, Alexis couldn't help but notice the looks of curiosity, disdain, and outright pity thrown her way by the various alien cadets. She responded to each with a wink and a grin, occasionally throwing in a finger gun for good measure. Finally, they arrived at a massive circular door emblazoned with warning signs in at least a dozen different languages. Last chance to back out, human Vexlor said, his mandibles clicking nervously. Once you enter, the exam will begin, and we cannot stop it until you either complete it or... Well, let's just say fail and leave it at that. Alexis's grin widened to truly alarming proportions. Oh, Captain, my Captain, you really don't know humans very well, do you? Telling us something's impossible is like waving a red flag in front of a bull. Now open that door before I start looking for the secret entrance. Trust me, you don't want that. Last time I did that, I accidentally found the self-destruct button. Long story, classified very hush-hush. With a resigned sigh, Vexlor pressed his appendage against the bioscanner. The massive door slowly ground open, revealing a cavernous, empty chamber beyond. Welcome to the cosmic crucible, Vexlor intoned solemnly. May the stars have mercy on your soul. Alexis cackled as she strode into the chamber. Mercy? Where's the fun in that? Catch you on the flip side, Bugsy. As the door sealed behind her, Vexlor turned to his second-in-command. Prepare the medical bay, he chittered grimly. And perhaps a broom. I suspect we'll be cleaning up small pink pieces shortly. Inside the chamber, Alexis stood in the center, bouncing on the balls of her feet like a boxer preparing for a match. All right, you cosmic funhouse, she called out to the empty air. Hit me with your best shot. The air shimmered, and suddenly Alexis found herself standing on what appeared to be the surface of a molten planet. Rivers of lava flowed around her, and the air was thick with toxic fumes. A disembodied voice boomed, Cosmic Crucible, Stage 1 survived the inferno of Nixthar. Good luck, candidate. Alexis's eyes lit up with delight. Oh, hell yes. Now this is what I call a warm-up. Without hesitation, she took off running, leaping from one precarious rock formation to another, narrowly avoiding jets of superheated gas and showers of molten rock. All the while, she kept up a running commentary that would have made most sports announcers blush. And she's off, ladies and gentle beings. Watch as the daring human navigates the hellscape with the grace of a drunken giraffe on rocket skates. Ooh, close call with that lava geyser. Hope nobody was too attached to those eyebrows. In the control room, Vexlor and his team watched in slack-jawed disbelief as Alexis not only survived but seemed to be actively enjoying herself. This is unprecedented, Vexlor muttered. No one's ever made it past the first stage so quickly, and certainly not while narrating their own performance. On the screens, Alexis had somehow managed to fashion a makeshift surfboard out of cooled lava rock and was now riding a wave of molten metal, whooping with joy. Cowabunga! Dudes, her voice crackled through the speakers. Is this the best you've got? I've had hot sauce spicier than this. As if in response, the scene shimmered and changed. The hellish landscape was replaced by a vast, frozen tundra. Howling winds whipped shards of ice through the air, and in the distance, massive crystalline creatures lumbered ominously. Cosmic Crucible, Stage 2 escaped the frost giants of Korlath. Survival is unlikely. Alexis, still smoking slightly from her lava surfing adventure, grinned maniacally. Now that's what I call a change of scenery. All right, Frosty, let's dance. What followed was a display of acrobatics, quick thinking, and sheer audacity that left the observing aliens questioning their understanding of physics, biology, and sanity itself. Alexis used the ice shards as improvised climbing picks, scaling sheer cliffs of permafrost. She fashioned a sled from the frozen carapace of some unfortunate creature and used it to outrace the lumbering frost giants. At one point, she even managed to trick two of the massive beings into colliding with each other, creating an avalanche that she surfed to safety. And she sticks the landing, Alexis crowed, taking a bow to an imaginary audience as she reached the designated safe zone. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the veal. In the control room, chaos reigned. Technicians scrambled to adjust parameters, convinced that there must be some malfunction in the system. Vexlaw's exoskeleton had turned an alarming shade of pale green. This is impossible, he chittered. No one has ever completed 2 stages in succession, let alone with such flair. His second in command, a being of living crystal named Zaiaya, chimed in. Perhaps we should terminate the exam, sir. Clearly there's been some sort of error. Vexlaw's mandibles clicked rapidly as he considered the option. But before he could respond, the simulation changed again.
This time, Alexis found herself in what appeared to be a massive library, stretching as far as the eye could see in all directions. Books floated through the air, rearranging themselves constantly.
The Cosmic Crucible. Stage 3 solved the riddle of the infinite library. Your mind is your only weapon here. For the first time, Alexis's grin faltered slightly. Oh boy, I don't suppose you've got a Cliff Notes version, huh? But as the disembodied voice began to intone a riddle so complex it made quantum physics look like simple addition, something strange happened. Alexis's eyes glazed over, and a look of intense concentration settled on her face. In the control room, alarms began to blare.
So one of the technicians called out, "The human's brainwave patterns. They're off the charts. I've never seen anything like it."
Vexlaw leaned in, his compound eyes widening in disbelief. What in the name of the Cosmic Empress is she doing? On the screen, Alexis stood perfectly still, her eyes darting back and forth, as if reading an invisible text. Books swirled around her in ever-tightening circles. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, it was over. Alexis blinked, shook her head, and grinned. Well, that was a trip and a half, she said, stretching languidly. So, did I pass? The disembodied voice seemed to sputter in confusion. How did you? Alexis shrugged. Oh, you know, a little intuition, a dash of wild guessing, and a whole lot of not overthinking it. Now, what's next? I'm starting to work up an appetite here. As if in answer, the library faded away, replaced by a barren asteroid field. In the distance, a massive space station loomed, bristling with weapons. Cosmic Crucible. Final stage, infiltrate the impenetrable fortress of Do. No one has ever succeeded. Attempt at your own risk. Alexis's grin threatened to split her face in two. Now we're talking. All right, universe, let's see what you've got. What followed was a display of improvisation, daring, and sheer luck that would be talked about in hushed whispers throughout the galaxy for centuries to come. Alexis used the floating debris as stepping stones, timing her leaps with precision that would make a quantum computer jealous. She repurposed a piece of space junk into a makeshift jetpack, zooming between laser blasts with reckless abandon. At one point, she even managed to hijack one of the station's own defense drones, riding it like a mechanical bull as she crashed through the outer defenses. Yee-haw, her voice crackled through the comms. Is this a top-secret military installation or a rodeo? 'Cause I'm having the time of my life here. In the control room, pandemonium reigned. Vexlaw was practically vibrating with a mixture of awe and horror. This is unprecedented, he chittered. She's rewriting the very parameters of the simulation with her actions. It's as if the laws of physics themselves are bending to her will. Zaiaya, her crystalline form glittering with excitement, chimed in. Sir, I think we may need to reconsider our definition of impossible. On the screens, Alexis had somehow managed to turn the station's own gravity generators against it. She was now surfing on a wave of artificial gravity, using it to fling herself past the final defenses and into the heart of the fortress. As she reached the central control room, alarms blaring and holographic guards swarming around her, Alexis struck a dramatic pose. "Honey, I'm home," she called out to no one in particular. "Now, where's that big red button that says do not push? Because let me tell you, it's getting pushed." The disembodied voice of the cosmic crucible seemed to sigh in defeat. Simulation complete. All stages cleared. "This is unprecedented." Alexis grinned, taking a bow to her imaginary audience. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the veal, if you guys even have veal in space. If not, try whatever weird alien meat substitute you've got. I'm not picky." The simulation faded away, leaving Alexis standing in the empty chamber once more. The massive door ground open, revealing a crowd of slack-jawed aliens led by an absolutely flabbergasted Captain Vex Law. So Alexis said, casually leaning against a wall that wasn't there a moment ago, "Did I pass?" Vex Law's mandibles opened and closed several times before he managed to form words. "Pass? Pass? Human, you didn't just pass. You shattered every record we've ever had. You completed challenges that were designed to be impossible. You kicked cosmic butt," Alexis supplied helpfully. "That's one way of putting it," Ziriah chimed in, her crystalline form vibrating with excitement. "MS Steel, what you've done here today is nothing short of revolutionary. You've completely upended our understanding of combat tactics, problem solving, and, well, the laws of physics themselves." Alexis shrugged, a mischievous twinkle in her eye. "What can I say? We humans have a knack for doing the impossible. It's kind of our thing. Now, who's up for celebrating? I'm thinking karaoke. You guys do have karaoke in space, right? If not, boy, have I got a treat for you." Before anyone could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Red lights flashed, and a new voice boomed over the intercom. "Alert! Alert! Unidentified vessels approaching. Hostile intent detected. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Vex Law's exoskeleton paled to an almost translucent shade. "By the Cosmic Empress, it's the Void Reavers." "But how? We're in the heart of Federation space." Alexis's eyes lit up with a mixture of excitement and mischief. "Void Reavers, huh? Sounds fun. Let me guess, big bad space pirates with a flair for the dramatic and a severe case of cybernetic overkill." Ziriah nodded, her crystalline form shimmering with anxiety. "They're the scourge of the outer realms. No one has ever successfully repelled a full-scale Void Reaver attack. We're doomed." Alexis clapped her hands together, grinning from ear to ear. "Well then, looks like today's just full of firsts. All right, Bugsy Shiny, here's the plan. Round up every cadet, instructor, and janitor in this joint. It's time for some hands-on learning." Vex Law's antennae twitched in confusion. "Learning? Human, this is no time for lessons. We need to evacuate, to call for reinforcements to kick some cyborg pirate butt," Alexis interrupted. "Trust me, Captain. I've got a plan. It's crazy, it's reckless, and it'll probably give your risk assessment algorithms a meltdown, but it'll work. You want to see why humans are the terror of the galaxy? Well, buckle up, Buttercup. Class is in session." Before anyone could protest further, Alexis was off, sprinting down the corridors and shouting instructions that ranged from the bizarre to the downright impossible. "I need every piece of technical equipment you've got. Toasters, hologram projectors, that weird machine that dispenses blue jello, all of it. And somebody find me a space-worthy motorcycle. Don't ask why, just do it." As chaos erupted throughout the academy, with cadets and instructors scrambling to follow Alexis's increasingly outlandish demands, Vex Law turned to Ziriah, his compound eyes wide with a mixture of terror and awe. "We're doomed, aren't we?" he chittered softly. Ziriah's crystalline form shimmered with what might have been a shrug. "Possibly, but I have a feeling it's going to be quite the show either way." Aboard the flagship of the Void Reaver fleet, Captain Drak Thor surveyed the Cosmic Combat Academy with his one organic eye, a wicked grin spreading across his cybernetically enhanced face. At last he growled, his voice a mixture of flesh and synthesized menace. "The heart of the Federation's military might, ripe for the taking. Prepare the boarding parties. Today we feast on the fear of." His dramatic monologue was cut short by a burst of static from the communications array. A cheerful, decidedly unterrified voice crackled through. "Ahoy there, you beautiful cybernetic disasters. This is your friendly neighborhood human speaking. Now, I know you're all geared up for some good old-fashioned pillaging and plundering, but I've got a counteroffer for you. How about instead you turn those shiny ships around, and we all pretend this little incursion never happened? No? Well, can't say I didn't try the diplomatic approach. Alrighty then, you asked for it. Dragged Thor's cybernetic eye whirred as it focused on the main view screen. What in the name of the void is a human? And why does it sound so? Amused, he got his answer a moment later as the space around the academy erupted into the most baffling display of improvised warfare the galaxy had ever seen. Holographic decoys danced between the stars, confusing targeting systems and causing several Void Reaver ships to fire on their own allies. Waves of what appeared to be weaponized space jello engulfed smaller craft, gumming up engines and weapons alike. And streaking through it all, on what could only be described as a rocket-powered space motorcycle, was a small pink biped, whooping with joy as it planted explosives, hijacked ships, and generally caused the kind of chaos that would give even the most hardened space pirate a migraine. Hee-hee-haw, Alexis's voice crackled over the comms. Now this is what I call a rodeo. Hey, Captain Cyberpants, how are you enjoying the show? Drak Thor's organic eye twitched violently. What? What is the meaning of this? This isn't warfare, it's awesome, Alexis supplied helpfully. Spectacular. The greatest show this side of the Andromeda Galaxy? Yeah, I get that a lot. Now, are you going to surrender? Or do I need to show you what happens when I combine your ship's waste disposal unit with a particle accelerator? Spoiler alert, it's messy, it's physics-defying, and it'll probably make your mother very disappointed in your life choices. As if to emphasize her point, one of the Void Reaver cruisers suddenly found itself turned inside out, its crew now floating in a bubble of what appeared to be strawberry-scented soap. That's impossible, Drak Thor sputtered. Our shields are impenetrable. Our technology is superior to anything in the known galaxy. Alexis's laugh rang out across the battlefield. Oh, my sweet summer cyborg. Didn't anyone ever tell you? Humans eat impossible for breakfast. Now, last chance, surrender, and maybe I'll teach you how to play poker. Trust me, with all those cybernetic enhancements, you'd have one hell of a poker face. For a moment, silence reigned across the battlefield. Then, to the utter astonishment of everyone involved, the Void Reaver fleet began to power down their weapons. We surrender, Drak Thor's defeated voice came over the comms. Just make it stop, please. Alexis grinned, doing a victory loop on her space motorcycle. Now that's what I like to hear. All right, everybody, party at the academy. First round of weird blue jello is on me. As the stunned cadets and instructors of the Cosmic Combat Academy began to celebrate their impossible victory, Captain Vexlor approached Alexis, his mandibles twitching with a mixture of awe, and trepidation. MS. Steele, he chittered. I don't know what to say. You've saved us all. You've done the impossible. You've kicked ass and taken names, Alexis supplied, grinning. All in a day's work, Bugsy. Now, about that technology vault Admiral Zix Klar promised me. Vexlor's exoskeleton paled. The technology vault. But that contains some of our most advanced and dangerous inventions. Alexis's grin widened to truly alarming proportions. I know, exciting, isn't it? Now come on, we've got a galaxy to revolutionize. And maybe, just maybe, I'll teach you guys how to have some real fun along the way. As Alexis sauntered off, already spouting ideas that made Vexlor's antennae curl in terror, the captain couldn't help but feel that the galaxy would never be the same again. And somehow, despite all his training and better judgment, he found himself looking forward to it. Epilogue. And that, kids, is how Aunt Alexis single-handedly revolutionized galactic warfare, turned the Cosmic Combat Academy into the most sought-after educational institution in the known universe, and introduced the concept of spring break to 17 different species. The group of wide-eyed alien children stared up at Admiral Zix Klar, their various appendages twitching with excitement. But Uncle Zix, one of them, chittered. What happened next? Did Aunt Alexis really rebuild the Void Reaver fleet into an intergalactic pizza delivery service? Zix Klar's tentacles writhed in what might have been a chuckle. Oh, that's a story for another day. Let's just say that thanks to her, you can now get a hot, fresh Zorblat's infinite topping pizza delivered anywhere in the galaxy in 30 minutes or less, or your money back. And did she really challenge the hive mind of XARTK to a dance-off for control of the Omega Quadrant? Not only did she challenge them, but she introduced the entire hive mind to the Macarena. We're still dealing with the fallout from that one. As the children clamored for more stories, Zix Clar's communicator beeped. He checked it and immediately felt a mixture of excitement and dread wash over him. Speaking of our favorite human, he announced, it seems Aunt Alexis is about to dock. She's just returned from her expedition to the uncharted zones. A chorus of cheers erupted from the children. Zix Clar raised his tentacles for quiet. Now, remember the rules. No touching anything she brings back until it's been through decontamination. We don't want a repeat of the sentient bubblegum incident. And for the love of the Cosmic Empress, don't let her near the quantum foam manipulator. Last time, she turned the entire station into a giant bouncy castle. It took weeks to restore artificial gravity. As if on cue, the docking bay doors burst open, and in strode Alexis Steele, looking not a day older thanks to some creative temporal shenanigans she'd cooked up a few years back. She was dressed in what appeared to be a spacesuit made entirely of disco balls, and trailing behind her was that a herd of six-legged, fire-breathing space llamas? "Honey, I'm home," she called out, grinning from ear to ear. "And boy, have I got some stories for you. Who's up for a little adventure? I found this great little black hole that I think would make the perfect water slide." As the children cheered and Zix Clar felt the familiar onset of a stress-induced molt coming on, he couldn't help but smile. Life with Alexis Steele around was many things, but it was never, ever boring.